Proper story's supposed to start at the beginning. Ain't so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world got all twisted, leaving him stranded on a rock in the sky. He gets up, sets off for the Bastion, where everyone agreed to go in case of trouble. Ground forms up under his feet as if pointing the way. He don't stop to wonder why. Finds his lifelong friend, just lying in the road. Well, it's a touching reunion. He sees what's left of the rippling walls, years of work undone in an instant, in the calamity. That a survivor? No, ma'am. It's a gas fella, forced out from underground. Kid pops him good. Gotta hold her still to spin up the chamber. Kid just rages for a while. Kid's worked up quite a thirst by now, so that fountain looks real inviting. Sometimes you just need a drink. A school of squirts tunnels up around them. Must have fled here from the mines. He sets foot inside one of Celandia's famous watering holes. Wait, haven't I? Anyway, Rondé's place just brings back memories. Rondé always wanted his ashes scattered here. Then Kid finds his trusty shield. The security takes him for a petty thief. Special delivery, gas fellas. Windbags start turning up for last call. More squirts start coming out of the woodwork. A big old fella pops out in front of the kid. Kid sees the way to the Bastion out the window. It's a bit of a drop. He gets a good look at things on his way down. He lands on top of a breaker's bow, and it ain't broke. Kid spies a good perch for some target practice. He knows he should draw the string all the way back. The kid pockets a memento from a breaker, once the fastest man in the land. Good news is the emergency defenses still work. Bad news is they're aiming for the kid. Picks up a few pointers from a dusty old tome. He's a mighty fast learner. And then he falls to his death. I'm just fooling. He finds the distillery right next to the arsenal. Tough part of town. One sip of the spirits in that distillery, and the kid'll feel like a new man. The arsenal's where the kid can pick the best tools for the job. Some of them squirts birthing like crazy in a couple of corn bins. An old ferry barge sends the kid on his way. The Bastion's real close now. Kid takes a chunk of alloy. The smell of barley and spoiled blueberries fills the air. Scumbags. Kid maybe shouldn't have done what he just did. Kid puts him out of his misery. He finds the core to the wharf district. He steals the city's heart. Might as well. Kid has a feeling he better get a move on. The place is starting to fall. Kid just keeps running. Somersaulting like crazy. At last, the skyway's in sight. Whisks him where he needs to go. Now the kid sees something stranger still. His mind races. Did anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds another. He finds me. We talk for a spell. There's a bit of the Bastion's power in that crest. Enough to point the way to the cores. All I tell him is to set that core of his on the monument there. Then watch. And just like that, the Bastion comes alive. Starts growing again. Growing stronger. Kid's gotta put its power to good use. Now the Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown. Kid ponders what to build. Kid don't know what's out there waiting for him. Now he lands at the intersection between bad and wrong. Ought to be a core down one of these twisted streets. But which one? And there it is. But it's locked down tight in an alloy cage. A blustery old foreman's keeping his fellas in check. Almost like he's showboating for the crowd. He hears the whole place groan, but it's too tough to fall. Might as well check the other side streets before leaving this hole. He heads for the squirt steps. Won't be no field trip this time. Kid ain't ever seen an elephant squirt before. Hopes he'll never see one again. They say even the most rambunctious squirts can be tamed. Keeps telling himself he better watch his step. Them squirts just don't know when to quit. Some scumbag still feeding off the city's own trash. And there he is, the oldest scumbag of them all, Gershel. They always said old Gershel wouldn't go without a fight. He comes back, just like I knew he would. The core hums in his pack. The monument's calling for it. Kid does it again. Only fair he decides what we build next. The Bastion's a place of peace, but we can hold our own if we have to. Picked up traces of other cores while the kid was out. In better days, the melting pot was sealed tighter than the skin on a squirt. Of all the plans to to survive the calamity, it had to be stab weeds. If there's a core, he figures it ought to be deeper down. Core's stuck inside one of those fancy cages. He throws a switch. Now what could possibly go wrong? Some of the stuff lying around is downright dangerous, quite a bit. As it turns out, the cage starts lifting from the core ever so slow. All Kid can do is wait. Shipments start falling in. Not every squirt's born bad. Some spring to the Kid's defense. Judging by the movement of the cage, it's gonna take a little while. Scumbags don't take kindly to interlopers. Even some gas fellas take his corner. Heard he popped that mean old foreman. At this rate, maybe 5 more minutes, maybe 30, hard to tell. Squirts get real territorial around the core. Then a shipment of free samples shows up. It ain't all bad, as the Kid finds some spices from the motherland, tax-free. One thing's for sure, that cage is awful heavy. Troublesome scene, to be sure. A few moments left, and the core goes free. 10, 9, 8, 7. You give or take a few seconds. Finally, the core's within reach. And done. He's got it. Just gotta get to the nearest barge. I still remember the look on his face after that one. The old world's finished, but the new world's just getting started. The lost and found. Here, Kid takes fragments of the old world and makes them whole again. I try to let the Kid down gently. This is the Bastion, all right, except no one else showed up. The windbags used to be all right, then the calamity took the floor out from under him. Folks voyaged across the boundless sea to found Ceylondia. It was good living here for a while. Couples used to walk the sundown path. Kid ain't here for pleasure, though. But then, somebody gets to the core before the Kid. Floor starts giving way under the lightest step. A single panic squirt could bring the whole place down. Well, the path ain't exactly open to visitors no more. See, the path was intended for leisurely strolling and such. Sky bridges link the path together. One of them bridges whips the kid along. Finds a spyglass, like the ones they'd use to search the stars. The calamity changed everything, even where the wind blows. Well, if we mastered the winds in the old days, we can do it again. But the question is, who else could have taken the core? Well, ain't no survivor stole the thing. Scumbag ate it by mistake. No, they used to ship live munitions down the path. Find time to find them. Even gas fellas need some shut-eye from time to time. They get real cranky when you wake them up. In all this toil, Kid keeps coming back to an overwhelming question. Who else could have survived the calamity? So he didn't find the core that time, but that ain't about to stop us. We could always see the stars, we just never could reach them, no matter how high we built. The dead ain't gotta worry about this mess. The calamity took everybody after all. Kid sees it plain, frozen faces all around. These folks never saw the calamity coming, but someone did. Someone close. It was someone like him. Something so familiar about that man. It's a snag or two trying to get to him. He ain't about to stop, no matter what. He's got so many questions after all. Just ain't got time for answers. The Thunder brothers didn't make it. They never saw what it was like beyond the walls. Nor did the bird boy. Didn't make it. The Jawsons, they didn't make it. Grady Sr., Grady Jr., they didn't make it. But him, he survived. Just think, without that man, we wouldn't be here right now, would we? And then, what do you say to a man who's seen too much? Kid hasn't a clue, but he says this. We have to go. Please. He's a proper gentleman, that man. His name is Zulf. No hiding he's an Ura. Folks like him ain't never been a common sight in Caelondia. He's relieved to see a living face or two. The kid and I introduce ourselves in kind. Both to him and to each other for the first time. For Zulf, Caelondia was like a second home. He's real worried about his first home, too. Far to the east. We all lost loved ones in the calamity, he says. I don't know how I'm gonna go on without mine. Zulf offers to help me plot the skyways for the kid. At least the calamity hasn't touched the stars, he says. The cores. They remember. That's why this place is coming together. That's why things are gonna be all right. Well, look what we have here. All it takes is some fragments, and the Bastion makes it good as new. He was born in the Tazzle terminals. LEIA sent him on a mission of peace to our city, and he's lived here ever since. We fought the decades ago, but that was then. Things are different between us now. We tracked down a couple more cores near the edge of the city.